CC cylinder and CC sphere are both found under the perspective category. I'm going to use my logo as an example to start, and let's just go with CC sphere. What this effect does is wraps whatever layer you've applied it to around a 3D sphere. And it is an actual 3D sphere, but it does not interact with 3D cameras or lights like some other effects do. And you can know that because it doesn't have the little 3D icon up here next to its name. But my logo has been wrapped around this sphere and it has some lighting and shading going on. So why don't we take a look at the controls and see what we can do with this? Well, first of all, we have rotation, and underneath here, I can rotate it on any axis, X, Y, or Z. And as I'm doing this, you can see that this is truly a 3D effect. We can see through to the backside, supporting the alpha channel and revealing what's on the inside of the sphere. Also in this category is the rotation order, which is defaulted to X, Y, Z, but you can change it to any other combination to change what order these will be rotating in. So for example, if I have it to X, Y, Z, then it will rotate the X axis and the Y axis and the Z axis sequentially. But if I went back and rotated the X axis, you see that that's basically rotating the same as the Z axis because I've rotated the Y axis at a 90-degree angle. So changing this to something like XZY is going to change which axis takes priority over the rotation. So let me reset that back to default and close up rotation. And the next option is radius. This is simply the radius of the sphere, and I can increase this or decrease this. Now, the bigger it gets, the longer it takes to render. But the reality is you're probably going to want this to be bigger than its default of 200. So you're likely going to want to increase that for an HD frame. Next up is the offset, and this is just a point control that allows you to move this around on the X and Y axes. I'll reset that back to where it was. And then we have the render setting, and this is where we can choose to render the entire sphere, just the outside, or just the inside. So if I turn it on just the outside and then I go back into the rotation, and rotate it around on the y-axis, as soon as we're able to see the back side of it, it disappears. And this is really useful for if you want to put something between the front and back sides of the sphere. You would need 2 duplicates of the layer, but this allows you to do that very easily. I'm going to change that back to full, close up my rotation, and then take a look at the next section, which is light. And this is where we can control the effect light. So first of all is the light intensity. Increase or decrease that. We can change the light color to be something other than white. We can change the light height, which isn't just on the vertical axis. It's basically revolving around the sphere depending on what light direction you have set. So if I put this up to an angle of 0, then the light height is going to travel from directly above at a value of 0, directly behind at -100, and directly in front at 100. But if I move that back down to 0 and then rotate the light direction, then it's basically like it's rotating all the way around the outside edge perfectly in line with the plane that it's already existing on. So you can use those 2 properties to shine this light on any part of the sphere. Next up, we have the shading category, and this is where we control how this layer is actually interacting with the light. So we could turn up the ambience to not have so much dark shadows, basically fill in those dark areas. I could turn the diffuse down to kind of balance those 2 out. We could increase or decrease the specular, and this will be more noticeable if I turn the ambient all the way down and the diffuse back up. But specular is shining in right up here. There's not much surface area on my logo here, but this is going to make some specular highlights. Let me just adjust the light height and then we'll see it even more. So that's with more or less specular. We have roughness, which shapes that specular highlight. Metal, which changes how that highlight is blending in with the colors below it. So a higher number is going to give us something that represents the colors underneath it already, and lower numbers will be much more washed out in bright white. And then finally, we have a reflective property, and this is dependent on a reflection map. And to show this, I'm actually going to switch out my source from my logo to this world map. So I'm going to bring this out into a new composition. And this is really, really big. It's from NASA, so it's a very high resolution image, but I'm going to rename that pre-comp world map and bring that out into this comp. And then I'll apply CC Sphere to it. I'll turn off my logo, and now I have this instance of CC Sphere with a pretty convincing looking globe on it. I can rotate this however I want. I think the Earth is at like a 23.5-degree tilt, and then it would rotate like that. So let's just pick Africa. and then go back down into the shading. So let's turn the ambient up a little bit, the diffuse up, and the green background's bothering me a little bit. So let's make a new solid, and we'll just make it black. That way it'll contrast with the globe really well. And let's get some of that specular back in. So there's our specular highlight showing up, and I'll rotate the light back and up a little bit, okay? So that's what the specular highlight looks like on something more solid. And now let's jump into the reflection map. So like I said, this is dependent on another layer. So I'm gonna make one more solid, Control or Command Y, and I'm just going to call this grid and add a grid to it. But I wanna make sure that it's not transparent. So I'm gonna change it to width slider so it's a nice square grid, and change the blending mode to normal. So now it is solid, and I can shut it off. I don't need to see it. I just need it to be in my comp. And I'll choose that as my reflection map and make sure that I've chosen effects and masks so it looks at the effects I applied to that layer. Now I'm going to turn reflective all the way up so we can see the reflection of that layer on our sphere. And if I rotate this around, you can see that it is not mapping it in 3D. This is just a reflection that is kind of disconnected, but still wrapped around the sphere itself. So you can think of that reflection as if it were an actual reflection on a shiny object. So imagine that this was not actually the Earth. Imagine it was a marble or something that looked like the Earth. I'm just going to turn the radius down a little bit. And let's actually make the reflection look a little bit different. I'm going to pre-compose this layer with Control-Shift-C, and I'll call this reflection map, and then go into that pre-comp and add two squares that are just white. So I'm gonna make one right here. I'm gonna make another one arbitrarily right here, and I'm gonna pretend that these are two big light sources. And in fact, these are probably too big. I'm gonna make them a little bit smaller. Just position them maybe in the top half of this map. Close that out and get rid of this grid effect on our reflection map, and now turn it off. Now you can see that those are almost looking like soft boxes in a reflection of this sphere. And to maybe shift it around, I'll just add an offset effect to that layer, and I'll make sure that this is renamed reflection map since it's not a grid anymore. And with that offset effect, I can shift the contents around to reposition those lights. And maybe I want it to look like softer light. I'll put in a fast box blur before the offset, increase the blur radius, and make sure to repeat edge pixels. And now it's just a little bit softer. Just remember that that is not attached to the sphere, so I can rotate this around however I want, and that light source will remain stationary. Okay, let's go back to the example with my logo to take a look at the last set of controls, which is internal shadows and transparency fall off. So internal shadows checkbox. What this does is render shadows on the inside of the sphere. So I need to turn my sphere around so I can see the inside of it. So let's go to the rotation and rotate it around on the y-axis. So we're now looking inside of it. And I actually need to change the source a little bit because it's just too thin. There are too many empty areas. So I'm going to grab my logo and drag it into a new composition. And I'm going to make it twice the width. So I'm just going to grab the width and say ×2. Press OK, and then move my logo over to one side. And I'm simply going to add a solid that is 1080 by 1080 onto the left side of the comp. And I'll bring up my align panel and just shift it over to the left side of the composition. And let's make this filled with a color. So we'll just do white so that it's nice and visible, or we could do a mid-gray. Okay, so half of my sphere will now be my logo and half will be a solid gray fill. So I'm going to swap this out by clicking and dragging while holding Alt or Option, and there we go. So I'm going to rotate my sphere around so that I can see into that interior with my logo on the outside. And I'm going to need to mess with some of the lighting to get the shadows to appear internally. So I'm going to just rotate this around a little bit so that we're casting light this direction. And let's mess with some of these controls. I'll turn up the ambience a little bit, turn down the specular so that's not so noticeable, and then check the box for internal shadows. And immediately you can see what happened. If I rotate the light around a little bit, you can see that the shadows are actually being produced internally on that sphere based on the source alpha channel wrapped around this sphere. So that's what internal shadows does, but I would leave that unchecked if you don't need it because it will take longer to render. Finally, we have this transparency fall off, which will probably be more apparent on our world map layer. So I'm going to turn that back on, turn off the reflection map, and make this a little less shiny as well. And then we'll zoom in nice and close on the edges. So right about here is a good place to look. And what we're looking for is right on the edge, how the transparency falls off from opaque pixels into transparent pixels. So if I check this on, it's going to very subtly make those edge pixels slightly more opaque. And honestly, I can't even see a difference, but that is what that checkbox is supposed to do. But those are all of the controls for CC Sphere. Now, let's take a look at CC Cylinder, which is very, very similar. All of the controls pretty much overlap. I'm going to turn off CC Sphere, bring in CC Cylinder, and this does a very similar thing to CC Sphere, except it's on a cylinder. So let's just go into the rotation, and I'll rotate this around so that we can see my logo. Remember, the source is logo on transparent on one side, solid on the other. So that's what we're seeing right here. We have the ability to increase or decrease the radius percentage, which does not just scale the whole thing up or down. It literally just makes the cylinder wider or narrower. And then we have the position controls to shift this around on the X and Y axes, as well as the Z axis, which is slightly different than CC Sphere. And in the rotation category, we can rotate it on any axis, as well as choose the rotation order, just like before. We can also change the render from full to just the outside or inside, or both. And we have all of the same lighting controls with the light height, the light direction, light color, and light intensity, as well as the same shading properties for ambient, diffuse, specular, roughness, and metal. So virtually the controls for these two effects are completely identical, and both are very useful for generating 3D imagery in a very lightweight, quick to render way. And while CC Sphere does do a great job of making a world map or a globe, Video Copilot actually has a free plugin that is full of amazing features for making just this type of graphic called Orb, and I'll link to it in the card above so you can go check that out. If you're trying to create more realistic planets, don't even bother with CC Cylinder. While you could get the job done with this effect, Video Copilot's Orb just has so many more features and it's much more capable. But that's all you need to know about CC Sphere and CC Cylinder. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, then check out the other ones here on my YouTube channel. And if you like my teaching style, then definitely check out my longer form content on Skillshare and School of Motion. And if you want to support more tutorials like this one, check out my Patreon. You can find links for all of that stuff in the description of this video.